they may not want to leave the state of Florida, but they definitely probably want to get out of the South Florida area. And that works for us because we're just far enough away for them to be away from home, but close enough that they can get home when they need to. But, when it came down to putting the staff together, man, it was all about making sure that we could win the state of Florida, right? Making sure that we can keep our kids in state. Those kids that aren't going to Power Fives, those kids that aren't jumping and going into the group of fours, because at the end of the day, you got kids that have left the state to go play these big time football that aren't making it at some of these big time schools and want to come back home. And to be able to put a staff together that mimics that of a successful tenure, because you got several coaches that have championship pedigree, right? As you spoke about, you're talking about Coach Ryan Lewis, who's our defensive coordinator, who has had the #1 defense in FCS football, the #1 defense in the SWAC a few years ago. So to bring him in to lead the Dark Cloud defense was something that him and I have been talking about for years, not necessarily here at FAMU, but just working together. That him and I have been friends for a very long time, despite him going to my rival in high school and then also going to my—
talking about y'all South Florida boys, Fort Lauderdale now, Coach. You got to tell people the background on that.
Right, and then being a rival in college, right? So at the end of the day, I don't give a damn where you went to school. If you're a good football coach and you can get my kids to do the things that they can't do themselves, I want you to be a part of what we are building. Sam Madison, as you talked about, Sam is a guy that's played on a professional level, has coached on the collegiate level, and then has coached on the NFL level and has produced a number of Pro Bowl athletes, right? So to be able to have Sam tutor and mentor our corners, who better can you ask for? Not only that, you're talking about a cat that's from the Tallahassee area, and then you're talking about a cat that has roots down in the Miami area because he played for the Dolphins for so long. So he's excited about having the area of Miami to recruit and being able to foster those relationships with those coaches down there, right? And then you talk about Ron Dugans being a local legend, played at FAMU High just as Sam Madison did, and then playing over across the street at Florida State. And he has over 14, 15, 16 years of collegiate coaching experience at Louisville, right, at Florida State, and then a couple of different places as well. So to be able to have him coaching our wide receivers and giving them the mentoring that they need at that position is going to be tremendous. So for me, man, putting this staff together was not about, just getting guys that had names. It was getting guys that were well known in terms of their development of student athletes, and then also understanding the scope of college football and what we needed to do to make sure that we're putting our players in the best position to be successful, because some of these guys that they've coached over the years have been very successful, not only on the college level, but on the professional level. So as a head coach, man, you always want guys around you because you don't know it all. And you want guys around you that have had different experiences. And then you want guys around you that aren't just going to be guys that be, yes, coach, yes, coach, yes, coach. You want guys that are going to help you take this program where it needs to go, that are going to challenge you sometimes to do what's best for the program, not what's necessarily what's best at the moment, but what's best for the program moving forward. Because what I may think at the moment is best, one of the coaches that may have a different experience may bring something to the table, and I may say, well, damn, that sounds even better. So at the end of the day, man, we got guys in the room with us that are going to make sure that we're doing and putting our best foot forward, not only for these student athletes, but for FAMU as a whole.
Hey, Coach Gray, there's a coach that I believe he's on your staff. Coach Morgan, were you guys able to ink Coach Morgan?
Toriano Morgan.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about that, Coach Cole and I had conversations about several staffs calling him, asking him about Coach Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to be quite honest with you, I was expecting him to land somewhere else based on the conversations that Coach Cole was having with me. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's at FAMU, Coach. Can you talk about how that kind of unfolded for you guys and because it was Coach Cole is pretty reliable about the information he provides, Mr. Campbell and I, and for it to go a different kind of way was kind of surprising for me.
Yeah. Well, if I tell you this, I got to tell you the story. So Coach Morgan and I go back, and it's a funny story because Coach Morgan and I, my mom and his mom were friends, and our sisters were Brownie Girl Scouts.
Oh, okay.
So Coach Morgan and I, since we were about, I want to say 7, 8 years old, we were a part of the Fort Lauderdale Mount Olive Baptist Church Girl Scouts as honorary cookie take. And you know, we went to Mount Olive Baptist Church throughout our high school. We went to high school together. He was my wide receiver my junior year in high school. He was a senior. We played against each other while he was at Tennessee State and I was at FAM. But our relationship goes back over 35 years, almost 40 years at this point. So that relationship that we have, and to know that, you know, I don't know what happened at his prior place, but to know the quality of person and the quality of coach that he is, and to be able to have that caliber of coach on my staff that is going to help me in different situations, which is why he's my associate head coach, was just a blessing in disguise. Because as you said, I thought, you know, that there wasn't a chance for me to get him. But, you know, there's some things that worked out in our favor, and I'm definitely happy that things worked out the way they did, and he's now a Rattler here on FAMU's campus.
Yeah, again, Coach Cole is pretty accurate in his, and he had told me some other staff said, you know, they reached out for him, and he says, looks like they probably gonna make the move, or they want him or whatever. And then all of a sudden, it's FAMU. I'm like, hey, what's going on here? And so it's good to know that you know, the coaching business is, as I get to know coaches and stuff, it's such a relationship business.
It's relationship driven, man. I promise you, like, if there's coaches on this podcast right now, man, understand that, like, if you don't know a coach, the likelihood of you working with that guy, if you don't have somebody that he's close to recommend you or stand on the table for you, the likelihood of you working for that person is probably slim to none. Because when it comes down to understanding the demand and the fact that these 18 to 24-year-olds have your livelihood in their hands, you have to have people around you that you trust. You have to have people around you that understand who you are as a head coach and can get on the same page quickly with who you are and what your standards are and what your expectations are. And to find and to understand that there's just going to be some guys that don't get opportunities because you don't have a relationship with that coach. That's just what it is. That's how unfortunately, that's where the coaching business is when it comes down to it. It's very relational. And if it's not a person that you've had a relationship or worked with in the past, you probably got to come highly recommended from somebody that coach either knows or an agent that he works for him that has suggested somebody that can possibly come in and do a good job for him. But this business is highly relational, and I'm sure that's the way it's going to be for a very long time.
As we talk about your staff and you talk about Coach Morgan being your associate head coach, you coming in and bringing in a couple of your coaches from Albany State. Mm-hmm. I got to ask this question because you were a play caller at your last stop. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Can we anticipate you calling the plays at FAMU as well in Bragg Stadium?
You can anticipate it. You can write it down and all that good stuff. But, yeah, man, I plan on doing that. But let me preface that with I've hired some guys, again, some great guys around me. And my plan is to I want to hand that part of it over, but at the end of the day, it's about, being able to trust and making sure that that person is on the same page with me, myself, and my thought process from an offensive standpoint. And when that happens, and I think it'll happen sooner than later, I'll be able to turn the reins over to who I feel like I can trust the most in those situations to make the best, put our kids in the best situation to be successful. Obviously, I'll still have my hand in some of that stuff when it comes to offensively, but over the past couple of years being at Albany State, you got.
Did you see him buffer Steve as well?
Yeah, he's buffering a little bit. Hopefully his phone didn't die.
I had one more question to ask him as a follow-up as well. Well,
hopefully it'll come right back in.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll come back in, man. Hey,
so Rocky, two things, because I know we got. So I want to. So two things. So when he comes back, I want to address. He hired 2 young men. We need to talk about what's going on with the spring, and because he also has the spring game on a Friday. We want to talk about that. I want to make sure before we let Coach go, because it's rolling on that. And then, basically what to expect, not anything else. But I know those are things that people want to find out, why we're having the spring game on Friday. He's hired some young guys that we want to talk about. And we want to talk about some of the people that he's seen, that he's brought in for the spring and things like that. So I just want to let you know.
Yeah, I definitely want to cover that. I just wanted to talk, a bit more about him. He admitted that he was going to call the plays. And I also wanted to add, Coach Cole has kind of described this, kind of explained to us about if you're a play caller as a offensive coordinator and you've been a play caller as a head coach and you had success, Coach Cole says it's almost unfair to bring another guy in to call plays. You know what I mean? To be up under that type of scrutiny. You know what I mean? And again, I kind of get what Coach Quinn is saying based on, the conversations we've had with Coach Cole, is to bring someone in and ask them to call plays when a lot of your success as a head coach has been because of the way you've called plays. And
I think what's going to happen is it's simple. Willie Simmons was a play caller. He called the plays. There we go. Got you back there, Coach? Oh.
Yeah, man, I'm back. I don't know what happened. That's why I don't mess with iPhones, man. I should have been on my Android from the jump.
You look better on the iPhone, though. I'll just tell you that.
Hey, Coach, listen, we will, because I know we got to get, because like I said, you one of them early risers. So, Coach, I wanted to talk about, and I know that, because I want to be very cognizant of time. So there's a couple things we want to get through. Coach, 2 kids I want to mention that I think is important, especially for the Rattler Nation. I saw you've got Coach Billy Roll. I want you to talk about how important who Coach Roll is. Again, FAMU legend. You also brought in Mikey Victor, who played at Alabama State as a young guy. And also, and I'm super excited that I found out that Nayron Jenkins is going to be a grad assistant, who I feel is a true Rattler. Can you talk about those 3 people and why they're on the staff and Nayron becoming a grad assistant?
Well, Nayron, man, when we first, just to talk about Nayron, man, we first got there, it was him walking around the building and things of that magnitude, saying, Coach, hey, man, I know you just getting here and all that good stuff. But, if possible, I just want to hang around and learn and possibly, if I could help in any way, so for a young man to want to volunteer his time and get into the coaching business, I think that's humbling himself, right? Because a lot of times when it comes to this coaching thing, man, everybody's all about getting paid and making sure that they're making $1 versus, trying to get their foot in the door. And he's going about it the right way. Coach, hey, can I volunteer my time? And if a grad assistant position comes open, man, you think I can? And for us, man, he's been a welcome addition. He's been a great guy in and around the building. He's been a tremendous asset to Coach Ryan Lewis in terms of helping him get to know the kids and understand who the guys are on the football team. So for us, man, Nayron Jenkins is going to be a good one down the line, and I'm looking forward to his success and his development as a coach. Mikey Victor played for Coach Lewis, right?
Yes,
so Mikey Victor actually coached up there with Coach Vic last year, so we were able to go ahead and grab Mikey from up there because he had the relationship with Coach Lewis. Mikey played a tremendous amount of football for Coach Lewis over at Alabama State, and then got a chance to play some pro ball. So Mikey is still developing as a coach. So he's in a quality control role for us, working with, the secondary. So I think Mikey, you're talking about a 26-year-old young man that is in a development stage of his coaching career, and he has a lot to learn, but he also has a lot to offer to some of our student athletes because he has different experiences that'll help them matriculate through this defense because he knows it, he's played in it, and he can definitely give them the inner workings of it and how it's supposed to look when it comes down to being successful in it. And then old coach Billy Rose, right? Coach Rose say you can't be called coach unless you're 50 plus. So it was important to me because Coach Rose has been such a support system for me, man, over the years that I've been a coach. And he's always had positivity. He's always talked positive when it came down to myself and the different opportunities that I've had. And we always had that talk or had that thing in the back of our head. Hey, man, if anything ever happens, because if he was to get a job or something like that, I'd come work for him. And if I ever was to get a job, the possibility of him coming to work with me as well. So, when the opportunity came about, coach is getting up there in age. So the possibility of him getting on the field wasn't, a great thing, but to have him in and around the program with the development of our players, because he's the player development guy. And then he also deals with high school relations because he has so many relationships with the different coaches in and around the state. I would have been a fool not to have him a part of that and help me to navigate, the coaches in and around the state, and then also help with the development because he's seen so much when it comes down to college football and then the way things have gone on and around the campus on FAMU for the last several years because he's been on Willie's staff and he's helped them win a Celebration Bowl championship. So for me, hopefully, we'll be able to do that thing one more time as well and get to the Celebration Bowl and do what we need to do to win a championship.
Now, Coach, you started spring ball. You got your players there. You brought in a tremendous. Some of the players are on. Hey, you got Coach. Thank you. Got my nephew Ahmad Parker down there. I was super excited, and I told him the first thing I told him is you follow that man, and he'll get you where you want to be, and also learn the history because there's a difference between playing football for FAMU and being a rattler. Coach, talk about what you've seen some in the spring ball. Some of the players that you brought in that were able to come in, from the December, to come in and participate. Some of the players that are still there that you say, hey, I want you to be part of the team. And also, Coach, in the end, I was curious to know, why is the spring game on a Friday? Because we want to know that too.
Well, to answer your first question, man, I think, over the last few weeks, we've been able to, really see our guys move and put them in different situations from a conditioning standpoint to see who was going to quit. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we want guys that want to be there. We want guys that are going to fight through adversity. And we want guys that are going to be smart, fast, and physical. Simple as that, right? But for us, we're in day 3 or just finished up with day 3 of practice. But we're highly happy with what we've seen over the last 3 days of practice. We got guys flying around. We got guys that are really, I think, just from a standpoint of when we first walked in the door to where we're at now, I think the confidence level has really been elevated in terms of the trust that we're building, and then also to see the guys feel like they have some ownership to what they're doing, right? In order to be able to be confident in what you're doing, you got to have some ownership to it, because at the end of the day, if you don't have some ownership, you can never be confident in it and believe in what it is that you're doing. So for us, we give our guys that ownership to take the bull by the horns and run with it, because we want to know what they do well and what they feel they do well as well. Because if we as coaches don't listen to our players, we're in the wrong business, because at the end of the day, they know what they're good at. They know what they feel they can do best. And if we're smart enough, we'll listen to that and put them in the best situations possible to be successful. But, you know, in terms of the spring game, just simply, the week is Orange and Green week. That Friday is Set Friday, and there's a lot of the Greeks that'll be coming out with their lines and things of that magnitude. So from the Office of Student Activities on campus, we want to sort of kind of put something together that will bring the campus together and bring the community together to be able to put on a good show for the community. So we thought Friday would be great to have Set Friday a little bit later in the evening. And then also what had to do with that was on Saturday, there's more so like an open house. And then there's a STEM convention or something going on with the STEM, and the parking on campus is going to be atrocious, right? So for us, we wanted to work smarter versus working harder, right? To have people try to get through traffic all day with the STEM stuff and not be able to find parking in Bragg Memorial Stadium. So we decided what would be best would be, hey, move it to Friday evening, give people a chance to get into town Friday evening, because we'll go at 6 o'clock Friday evening. It'll be our junior day, so we'll welcome our juniors that are some of our top recruits that are class of 27 in for that weekend, and then just give the community a chance to come on out, enjoy some good football, and then see what the 2026 Rattlers have to offer moving forward.
Well, Coach, I'm definitely going to be down there. Hopefully we'll be able to do a live remote. Now, you know, I get with Dennis and things like that. Now, Coach, is there going to be a fee to get into the game? Have you determined that?
I think there is. I'm trying to keep that fee as low as possible. And so for me, I'm going to say $5.
Gotcha.
Right? For everybody. I'm going to say $5. Obviously, students are going to get in for free. I think, you know, last year they had a certain price, but I'm going to say $5 now. If I get trumped, don't quote me on that. Hopefully.
That's no problem. We got to pay that, Coach. That's going to go directly to the bottom line of what you're trying to accomplish anyway.
There you go.
I think we got a little bit of money to support that.
There you go. So I would hope, you know, I would say $5 to get into the game, the spring game, because I want to have as many people to come out and support these young men that would, at that point, would have gone through 14 practices already. And we're going to start a new tradition with not a new tradition, but we're going to take the Rattler Walk a little bit on a little bit of a different route. And make sure that we can try and get the community to rally around that Rattler Walk from the new location, and make sure that you know, we're putting our best foot forward to start some new traditions and make sure that we're giving the fans what they want each and every Saturday.
One last thing, and then I ask this, Coach, is there any players, and again, it's no problem because it is early, but is anybody that you kind of say, you know what, hey, this is what we're talking about, that this young man is here, he's working hard, he wants to, like you say, going through those hard moments, but really kind of saying, I want to be a leader, Coach. I want us to get back and restore that strike. Any guys that you kind of seen already that kind of standing up?
Yeah, there's several of them. To be honest with you, man, there's a lot of guys that are really, really trying to put their best foot forward, man. So to single out anybody, I would probably be remiss to name all of them, because to be quite frank and be quite honest with you, we're still getting to know our guys, right? We got names on the front of the helmets and things of that magnitude, because as I said, you know, over the last 2 months, we've been out fundraising and doing some things to make sure that we bring some money into the program. So for me, I'm still getting to know our guys and developing those relationships. But what I can say, man, we're excited about what we're doing academically. We just put out 5 of our academic all-stars for our last week, and we'll do that from here on out, week in and week out, to announce, those kids that are making it happen in the classroom and on the football field. So for us, man, we're excited about that part, because obviously the APR thing is a big thing when it comes down to FAMU and the athletic department. So for us, we're putting our best foot forward to make sure that we highlight those guys that are doing things the right way in the classroom and make sure they get the recognition that I think they deserve from that standpoint.
Coach, I got to listen. I retweeted this because I've been around a long time and I follow you on social media. And when I saw this pop up, Coach is letting people know the standard is off the field to get on the field. And Coach, I've got to salute you because, again, and this is no disrespect to anybody else because everybody's different. I'm talking about you. When I saw this highlight, this was the most exciting thing that I think you posted, because it was the mentality that I knew that you, Coach, this is no secret, and you addressed it, the APR, and you said, I'm going to tackle it, we're going to defeat it, and we're going to be winners of APR. This, to me, already showed that these young men understand what that goal is. And for you to highlight them, Coach, I want to just give you credit because I thought this was a tremendous post. You see, I already had it ready because I was going to ask you about before you got up out of here. What made you, and so I will ask you, what made you do this, and why, and what have these young men also, is this a trickle-down effect? Not everybody wants to be part of this, get recognized every week?
Well, what happens is, man, a lot of times we get on our young men about what they're doing wrong, man. And that's some of the problem. So for me, I thought, well, while we're, the social media and people outside of the walls want to sort of kind of come down on our players when they do things the wrong way, why not highlight when they do things the right way? So for me, man, it's all about making sure we recognize these guys that are putting their best foot forward academically each and every week, man. And I'm most proud of Kennard Wilcher. Obviously, I'm proud of all 5 of these guys, but I'm most proud of Kennard Wilcher and Kai Gasson. You're talking about 2 guys that may have struggled a little bit in the fall from an academic standpoint. These guys have made a total 360. Now, I don't like to say 360 because that takes them right back around to where they came from. Right. But at the end of the day, these guys have definitely taken the bull by the horns or the rattler by the fangs and done what they need to do to make their academics a priority. So I'm highly proud, because when I sit in my meetings on Monday with the academic staff and they said these guys are the ones that are putting their best foot forward and making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do each and every day, making their meetings with the tutors, making their meetings with their academic advisors, and they're doing what they need to do and their grades reflect that, man, I can do nothing but highlight each and every guy. That obviously there's more guys that we can highlight, but we pick 5 each and every week, and that's what we'll do every week, man, to celebrate the guys that are doing it the right way.
Coach, I love that. Rocky, what you got?
Coach, I can't let you go without letting you know I looked through your schedule, Coach.
Come on with it.
And here's the deal. I'm trying to look for the FAMU rivalry. Is it Jackson State? Is it Southern? Is it Bethune-Cookman? Is it Tennessee State? Coach, which one of these
you say you're looking for a rival?
No. What I'm saying, I'm looking to figure out, as someone who is just now coming into the space, Coach, seems like everybody chooses FAMU as their rival. Who is FAMU?
Listen, and that's right. That's rightfully so, because we've done a lot of things to people over years, man. And when it comes down to it, a lot of people want to beat up on FAMU. That's just what it is, because we used to beat up on their ass back in the day. And that's just, think when I tell you, it precedes you. What people think precedes you. What we did to people back in the day, man, people don't forget that stuff, and they want some get back, right? Jackson State has us on their homecoming this year. Alabama State has us on their homecoming this year. We don't take that lightly. At the end of the day, we understand what it looked like over the past couple of years, and that's neither here nor there. But at the end of the day, we understand what people think of us right now. And it's up to us to change that narrative, right? So people can think what they want to think. But at the end of the day, when we show up on Saturdays, they're going to have to put their big draws on and play the football that they think they can play, or it's not going to be good for them. Simple as that.
So sound like you taking all comers, Coach. It sound like that you're not choosing one team over another or one rivalry or another. Because again, you talk to the people at Tennessee State, they're saying that FAMU is the game they got to win.
Well, listen, if Tennessee State right now is worried about FAMU, whatever 2 games they got prior to that, that's going to be an issue for them. Because right now, Albany State is what I'm preparing for. I'm preparing to get our guys ready to put their best foot forward this spring. And then once we're done with that, Albany State is all that's on my mind until we get to something else after that. But right now, we're trying to put the best team that we can together this spring to go into the fall. And then once we get to the fall, Albany State will be on the clock.
And Coach, I'm going to make this last comment about your schedule, Coach. A lot of these schedules in the HBCU space, the Division I teams, they've doubled up and put an NAIA school or Division II school on there, Coach. What's your theory regarding scheduling, and what kind of level of competition do you want to see on your schedule?
Man, I'm trying to prepare my guys for championship runs, man. We needed a week 0, which is why we're playing Albany State. And that's simple as that. Because other than that, it probably would have been some type of bigger school, but we already got a bigger school with Miami in week 3. So moving forward, man, I've been talking to other coaches at FCS schools already. Because we got a couple slots open for 27. I'm trying to set something up with some FCS or MEAC schools that we can try and get a game. Because I prefer to put our guys in situations to make them better. And playing an NAIA school ain't gonna make us better. That's like going out practicing against each other, in my opinion, or practicing against a lesser opponent. But for me, I don't care what other people do. But for us, we're going to make sure that we're challenging ourselves week in and week out to put the best product on the field so we can prepare ourselves later on down the line. So when we face those tough situations, we've already been in them and we know how to react versus having to think throughout those situations as well.
And last thing, Coach, last year we had a new coach coming from Division II, just like you. He made no bones about it. He said his goal for his team was to be in Atlanta at the end of the year. I got to ask you this straight up, Coach. Literally traveling the same path to get to your school that Coach Jackson did. What is your goal for this upcoming season?
Hey, man, let me tell you something. Tremaine Jackson is a guy that I look up to. Tremaine Jackson is my dude. So to pay homage to Tremaine Jackson, Atlanta.
Come on, Coach.
Atlanta. Got to get there.
Hey, that's a great way.
One time for my boy Tremaine Jackson, man.
Hey, Coach. That's a great one, Coach. I'm done.
Man, I want to end it on that. But Coach, I'm sorry, I do have to ask that. I'm gonna have to say you say it again. There was a question because we got a lot of rattlers in the chat.
Yeah, man.
And one of the things that we saw, because we heard, have you hired your strength and conditioning coach yet?
Yeah, Joshua Woods, man, is our strength and conditioning. Josh, if you Google Joshua Woods, Josh has been with the Minnesota Vikings. He's been with the Miami Dolphins. He's been several different places, man, and his experiences lead towards success and in terms of developing young men, in terms of the strength and conditioning aspect of our program. And you know, when you sit down and you talk to him, his vision for what he has for our young men will blow you away. So he'll be at the 220 Club on tomorrow, speaking to that group. So if you want to tune into that, you'll get some of his energy that he'll be bringing to our program. But I'm excited about where we're headed. with Coach Woods, and I can't be happier with the hire when it came down to getting Coach Woods on board.
Coach, along that same line with your staff, have you named a recruiting coordinator on your staff?
Yeah, Toriano Morgan is our recruiting coordinator.
Okay, gotcha.
He's our associate head coach, and he's our recruiting coordinator. Yep.
Well, Coach, listen, I want to tell you how much I appreciate it. I know, man, you've been texting back and forth, and Coach, I know, like I said, you went to Legacy Bowl. I know you had the coaches conference and thing, but I really appreciate you always got back to me, and you say you hadn't forgotten. And Coach, it means a lot to all the Rattlers that you're back home, and it means a lot, man, because I'm trying to tell you, boy, you restoring that strike, Coach.
I'm trying to get it there, man. And what I will say, man, I appreciate all of the support from Rattler Nation. Stay with us. Continue to support us. Come on out for the orange and green games. We're calling it Friday night.
What's the date on that, too? People, what's the date on that?
Friday, April 3rd. We're calling it Friday Night Strike. So come on out for the orange and green game on Friday, April 3rd, and come see what the new and improved Rattlers have to offer going into the 2026 season.
Well, there it is. Florida A&M's head football coach. 70 days of no FAMU foolishness, because you know why. So that man's our coach, Coach Quinn Gray, Senior. Coach, we thank you for being on HBCU Coaches Corner.
Hey, man, I appreciate you having me, man. And I look forward to being back on sometime soon.
Oh, you already know, Coach. Like I said, we're going to do something live. I'm coming down there for the spring game, so we're going to jump on there real quick and get everybody hyped about that, too.
Awesome. Let's do it, man.
Thank you, Coach.
All right.
Oh, man, Steve. Now, now that's a great interview.
Listen,
that's an instant classic right there.
Listen, I try to tell people, and I text some other coaches, and this is no disrespect to everybody else's show, but the name of this show is HBCU Coaches Corner, presented by Johnnie Cole. Don't nobody do it like this. Don't nobody get the information like we do.
You know, Coach, I'm gonna say this. This interview is up there with Trey Oliver, one of our all-time favorite interviews. It's up there, of course, with Tremaine Jackson. It's up there with those Eddie Robinsons, Coach. This was a tremendous interview. He not only gave us great content and great explanations, but he was able. He put something on the wood, Coach.
Bro, listen.
He put something on the wood. Now he didn't stutter. He didn't stammer. He didn't do it. He said Atlanta. Got to get there.
But you know why? Because let me tell you something, man. And Rocky, like I say, you've been around highly motivated, successful people. You're a successful person. Me and you talk a lot and things. I mean, you're very humble, but you got things going on. But when you start pushing that to levels, that's what our champions are wired. You think he want to come in there? That man is talking about 4 and 8? He wired like that? You thinking that? You don't think that and let's keep it a buck. This man is a Rattler. You don't think that he saw Jackson State got us as homecoming, put 40 on us? Alabama State got us as homecoming, put 40 on us, and brag that this man who put 60 on people, you don't think he saying, wait a minute. And that coaching staff, because that's the thing about it, what you want right there is the mentality, the standard. You know, he was at the 220 Club last week. And somebody said, Coach, I want to ask you a question about discipline. You know what Coach said? That ain't a question. That's a statement. Discipline is not a question. What did we just see on the Coach Vic doc? See the difference? And no disrespect, but I'm talking about somebody that's been there that understands it. And that's the reason, I guess I'm going to drop that link. There's a reason why you can raise, and I got to share the screen because, like I said, people be talking about what they do, but there's a reason why, Rocky, we brag different. There's a reason why that man got $327,000. Rocky, do you know that is almost $500,000 in less than 60 days?
Yeah.
There are people trying to raise $1 million, ain't got 100,000.
Yeah, Coach. That's significant, Coach. I never forget what you guys did to try to keep Willie around. That was remarkable as well. And then you guys are coming back here again to show your support for Rattler. And you guys are putting in work, man. It was like I say, but I understand the excitement. So because I'm not an HBCU guy and because I'm not a Rattler, sometimes I don't understand the energy behind certain names and certain personas. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like I don't get it. And I think people who have been in the HBCU space sometimes don't get it either, meaning that they don't understand who Quinn Gray is. They don't understand what he means to be a Rattler and come home and be successful and lead the charge of restoring the strike. You know what I mean? So but again, he's a very impressive man. He's somebody that doesn't mince words. He's not playing the political game when it comes to football. He's letting you know what it is and what it ain't. You know what I mean? And I like intelligent men who speak plain and direct. I like that, coach. All due respect to those great politicians who can dodge questions and pivot and turn. I like men who speak plain, straight, and articulate, and let you know what their plans are, and let you know what the standard is, because that gives us something to measure them by, coach. I think sometimes coaches don't want to make a declaration sometimes, coach, because to be honest with you, they don't want to be accountable for their own words, coach. That's why they don't make statements like, I expect to be in Atlanta.
because they don't say it because they don't believe it. See, there's the difference. See, man, listen, when you listen, Rocky, we've interviewed a lot of these coaches. We taught a lot of these coaches offline. We've seen them out in public and stuff like that. When you've got the Tremaine Jackson, the Trey Olivers, the T.C. Taylors, and now Coach Willie Simmons before that, you know what I mean? And you got Coach Gray. They all are cut from the same cloth. Eddie Robb. Listen, man, Eddie Robb told Deion, you ain't swag. That's a championship mentality.
And rejected his hug.
Listen, man, listen. So when you got these guys that have been through the war, that have played for these schools, that understand, to your point, the tradition. Like Coach said, I walked through the field house. Now, what it was and what it needs to be, but I walked through those halls. I'm not going to let the team practice on this field because we didn't do that. You had to earn the right to get on that brag field. So these are things that when you sit back and people are excited, and there's a quiet because let me tell you something, Rocky. When you hire the coach that he hired, and like I say, man, I'm gonna listen. We always want to down people, but I'm gonna say this again. Shout out to Coach John, because listen, she heard it after that Valley game. She had to make a decision. She hadn't been there long, and she had a person to say, hey, what should we do? And for them to sit back and to make sure he got Rocky, listen, because it was the funny thing about it. You know, Southern came out with, Marshall Falk, we got $900,000. We're going to hire the best of the best. Marvin and A.D. Suggs said, hold my beer. We're dropping 1.2.
Yeah.
We're dropping 1.2 and we getting the best of the best. That makes a difference. So, Rocky, listen, we got on this show, man. This ain't no disrespect to nobody, but we literally did breakdowns with Coach Cole. I had Coach Cole coming on FAMU shows and said, Coach, what happened here? And Coach Cole said, Coach, I can't tell you. You're not going to hear that. You're not going to see guys out of place. You're not going to see guys not knowing what to do. And you damn sure not going to see nobody put 40 unless we put 40 right back on.
You know the thing, Coach, like I'm going to be honest with you. When you look at what Coach Quinn Gray did last year, what Coach Ron Lewis has done already in the SWAC, right? Just those two hires right there, in my opinion, put you at the very top of the HBCU Division I coaching list as a tandem. You understand when you talk about as a tandem, right? Because Coach Lewis can carry himself on his own. But when you put that tandem together and look at what, because here's the deal, Coach. We don't have to speculate on whether or not Coach Gray can coach. You know why we don't have to speculate that? Because the last two coaches that won the leagues, one of them won the SWAC, the other won the
national championship.
won the national championship and has won back-to-back MEAC titles. So we don't have to question that league. and what is in that league, do we?
No, you don't. And not only do you don't have to question it, to your point, the resume speaks for itself. And when you're looking at the people, man, and listen to the names that you're naming, a Chennis Berry, a Tremaine, who we've interviewed, and we're going to have Chennis Berry coming on now in the next couple of weeks, which I'm super excited about. But we've had the ability to talk to these guys. And the one thing that is consistent is that we're going to coach to a standard. The players are going to be in the standard, and there will be no excuses made. So when Coach says Atlanta, you know what that means? And I'll say this, Coach has, but what that means to me is I'm not going to make no excuse. The goal is the goal. I'm not going to sit back and say we only have what we have, because we do only have what we have. This is the first recruit cycle. But Coach said, I'm going to coach these players. And shout out to Kennard Wilcher, which is amazing, because that was some thing that for him to be on that academic highlight shows that Coach Gray has put that focus. Because, again, that's been one of the things. Like I say, FAMU food, FAMU APR, FAMU ain't got this, FAMU quoting things that they don't need to be quoting. Rocky, ain't heard none of that. When you got people, those young men that are working hard in the classroom, guess what? You ain't gonna have no problem with no APR. Then what's it gonna be the joke then? Ain't gonna be no joke. Oh, fam, you ain't got no money to do this. That. Oh, wait a minute, fam, you just raised them to $500,000, about to go get $1 million. They ain't laughing no more. And I tell you one thing, when that coach's call come around on the SWAC and everybody was making their little jokes, they was ready. Guess what's gonna be mighty quiet. Because it's quiet now, Rocky. They ain't making their jokes no more. Boy, they was ready to go. They had all types of memes and stuff. Ain't no memes on Coach Gray.
So let me ask you this here. And I'll ask matter of fact, I got the phone lines open. So if you want to call, you need to make a call quick. But I want to, in the chat, I want you to answer, I want you guys to answer this question. Because I think it's a very interesting question. You guys you set in for the interview, right? There's 12 coaches in the SWAC. From this interview, and Coach Quinn's resume, is he in the top half or the bottom half of those coaches?
I don't even know why you even asked that question. I don't even know why.
I think it's a fair coach. Come on, now, Mr. Campbell. We got Tremaine, we got TC, we got Coach Robinson. You know, Coach Shade has some accolades, even though he had a rough season last year, right?
You got the top 12 teams, so there's 6. He will have to be in the top 6 and be in the top half.
Yeah, I get it.
So I'm telling you, we've got one coach that won a national championship, so you're going to put TC Taylor in.
Yeah.
You got another coach that won the actual SWAC, was Tremaine Jackson. You got Eddie Robinson, who's shown consistency. That's 3. After that,
Coach Quinn, again, playing in the same league as Coach Quinn, Coach Shade has beat Coach Quinn.
Yes.
So I mean, you can speak to that if you want to.
I said top 6. Listen, let me say what I do like. Let me say this. I'm gonna flip it another way. I like the depth of the coaching is getting better. Let's talk. Mickey Joseph just got re-signed in Grambling. You talked about Sam Shade. You saw what Coach Woody is building down there at Bethune-Cookman. So all of a sudden, you got Marshall Falk coming to Southern that people think how up. What I'm starting to see, so I'll flip it, is the depth of coaching is gotten better since you gotten here. Because remember, everybody was gone after what year?
Well, I'll say that there was tremendous turnover since I arrived, Coach. I done quit counting coaches. So
right.
You might as well forget. But what I'm looking at is, so I think we got to look at put some respect on Coach Mickey Joseph's name.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, he's beaten Jackson State twice and nobody's done that since I've been here. Nobody's beat Jackson State twice since I've been here. Tell me who has beat Jackson State twice.
The only people that have beaten Jackson State has been us, Alabama State, and Alcorn, and Grambling.
Who's beat them twice is what I asked.
No, nobody. That's right. No, not since the Dion era. As we use the Dion era, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
So this is here's what my man say. Rocky, can you do this with a straight face? Of course. The facts are the facts. When you may not think very much of Coach Mickey Joseph and what he's done at Grambling, but you look at those 2 wins at Jackson that he's beaten Jackson State. He's literally done something that Tremaine Jackson ain't done because he's only been here 1 year. You understand? He's literally done something that Chennis Berry hadn't done. Chennis Berry had 2 chances and missed on both of them at Jackson State, if I'm not mistaken, right?
No, one time. He's only played them once.
No. Didn't he play him? Oh no, that was Buddy.
That was Coach Pugh last year.
Yeah, that was Coach Pugh. My correct. Well, what I'm saying is beating Jackson State ain't no easy thing to do.
Absolutely not. And that's why I'm saying, and that's why I always start with TC Taylor's name first, and who and what he's done. And like I say, the thing about, and man, listen, the bottom line is this, to your point. That road that they get ready to go on that march is filled with people that can beat you. And I tell you what, and Coach said it, I think Coach even alluded to it, that folks now all of a sudden got confidence that they can beat FAMU. And Coach, you can see, wait a minute now. Like Coach said, and no disrespect to Eddie Robinson, but we hadn't lost to Alabama State. We had beat them every year. Then we get blown out. Jackson State, everyone, like I said, that Dion when we had it. But those games have been classics. You know what I'm saying? Big, hard-fought games between Jackson State and FAMU. We lose to Bethune-Cookman. We lose to Valley twice. Valley has a 2-game winning streak on us.
Let me ask you this, Steve, as a rattler, and then and this is probably the last question I'll have about your Coach Quinn's predecessor. Are you going to look at Coach Cozy's tenure as a bump in the road or a setback?
Listen, man, I'm going to say this, and this is what I will say about Coach Cozy. I think Coach, when he got hired, I think at the way it was all laid out. But see, this goes back to the FAMU foolishness, right? It was every day was FAMU foolishness. He got caught up in it. He was the person that was next man up because of all the different things swirling. We're not going to go who should have been hired, why did not. Coach Cozy did the best he could do. He did. He tried. He's a good guy. I like Coach Cozy. But once again, there are certain jobs, to your point, because I'll tell you this, you said FAMU coaching correlates to championships and non-coaching. Well, that's any program I would tell you. There ain't a program that's not great, don't have great coaches. It is very rare that I've seen a program that is historically great, traditional.
I mean, you
had great coaches.
You can. So what I was simply saying is a lot of and I didn't get a chance to articulate the way. If you talk to FAMUans, you would think that winning in football is a birthright when you talk to FAMUans, but it's really trended with those legendary coaches you've had.
But every program, Alabama is not Alabama without Bear Bryant and Nick Saban. You see what I'm saying?
I get you.
You start the same thing. You look at Ohio State. You know what I mean? Woody Hayes and those guys, and the guy that came from Youngstown State. Coaching always, like you said, you can't win championships without coaching. I'm gonna tell you, the only sport that you can kind of do that on, and that's only at a college level, is basketball, because you can have a guy literally win 6 games for you, and you don't have to be the greatest head basketball coach. You can be a good one. But I'm talking, you can literally have one guy. University of Michigan did it with Glenn Rice. But football is too many variables.
I will agree with you. I believe that there can be successors like a Larry Coker, who just inherits a very talented team and wins championships, or you can be a Gene Chizik, end up coaching a transformational player and catch lightning in a bottle. You know what I mean? Exactly. So I believe those are 2 examples. But even, and this is my point, even at those schools, they are, for the most part, I'll say Auburn has been a football powerhouse in the past. Maybe not a championship program, but definitely a football powerhouse. And we know what Miami was prior to Larry Coker and Butch Davis being there, they were a perennial championship program under Snellenberger, Jimmy Johnson, and Erickson. So they had a pedigree already, is what I'm saying. It usually, those programs can kind of talk about being championship programs outside of legendary coaches, in my opinion. But there's not, to your point, there's not many instances where championships are won at the college level without legendary coaches.
Well, that's the reason why you have people from Jackson State. And again, Rocky, you're a perfect example. You came on the Deion wave, right?
Yes.
You didn't know anything about Jackson State. You saw Deion. But that's why Jackson State people were like, bro, we already been like this. And with everything we got, we can be like that. Guess what? They back like that. And they're going to be like that for a long time, as long as T.C. Taylor's there. Because Jackson State is built to win. They've always been like that. Jackson State has never not been good. Overall. Yep. Same thing with Grambling. Why do you think them Grambling people? Grambling people, they don't care. This is the G. Grambling been good forever. So when Jackson State got this powerhouse team, Grambling was not sitting back, oh, we're going to lose to them. That's not how Grambling folks think. Because Grambling said, we the one got the winning record against all these jokers in the SWAC. Other than Southern now, because I think Southern had caught them. But my point of it is, when you're part of these legendary HBCU programs, South Carolina State, they didn't blink when they lost to Jackson State. They expect to get right back there next year, which they did. And they told they was going to get right back there. And they won. But now what I do like is a person like Tremaine Jackson who went to Prairie View. Now, see, this is where your thing comes in, your analogy. Who has no tradition, who has been basically a bottom basement team. They've recently had an up and down. But people, listen, we're not going to play this game. Prairie View, unfortunately, right ahead of Valley, right ahead of UAPB over the last 50 years. Okay? But you bring a transformative coach with that talent base, then guess what? As long as Tremaine Jackson is there, Prairie View's going to be good. And then, can you build it where the next guy build? If Tremaine leaves, can you build off of that? But that's the same thing with what I told Coach, and you heard Coach say it. And I know it. As you know, I teased about the state of Miami. You heard he said, I-75, that's FAMU country. All the way to Atlanta, they take you all the way to Florida, get you all the way down to Miami. And down I-95. You get them guys, bro. You get them fast dudes. We're going to be in any football game. And you saw the speed because you saw even our long distance runners who run your ass down. Boy, we in Florida, boy. So that's what I'm saying, man. It's the thing about it. What I'm excited and what and what's so great about this show, man, we got to, first of all, shout out to everybody that stayed up to watch this. But this is what's so great. Rocky, appreciate you putting it together, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. Because I know you were just transitioning, moving into a new house. Congratulations to you. But this is why this show is so important. Because coaches like Coach Gray get to come on and don't have to be rushed. We ask the question that people want to hear. And then you get a lot of information that now, the spring game, his coaching staff, his coaching philosophy, fundraising. Man, you're not going to get that at other interviews. You're not going to get that. So shout out to you with the, great questions and things like that. But, my biggest thing and why I'm excited and what I think is most, Coach, you hit it right. And shout out to Fang Exchange because, hey, they doing their thing. They're raising money. Like I said, all the auxiliaries that support FAMU, when they believe in you, they're going to put that money. And Rocky, we all know this is where we're at now. It's a money game.
You know the crazy thing, Deion, when he came in, he was able to bring in tremendous talent into the SWAC. But what I've
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.